Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
CBM Construction offers all your construction needs: new builds, remodeling, heating and cooling services, and installation. Give them a call today, 815-716-6727. CBM is licensed, bonded, and insured to provide the ease of mind you're looking for. From start to finish, CBM is professional and friendly as they bring your dreams to life. Bill builds it best. Check them out on Facebook for more pictures of their amazing work. 815-716-6727. CBM Construction. 815-716-6727.
Oh boy, I feel what? Why do I feel like? Why do I feel like I'm back in school and I'm about to go to the principal's office here, Uncle Mike? Huh? You let me know. 'Cause
Yeah, do you, son? Do you feel like you deserve to be in the principal's office?
I
Do
mean,
you
that's not
know?
out of the realm.
Do you know
That's
why you're here?
that's I ask more questions than I do give answers. That's for sure. And I would listen. I was a frequent attendee in the principal's office, and I know that comes as a shock to Uncle Mike, but
But
tip,
please
yeah.
hold my
So
beer. Hold
yeah.
my beer, son. Are you?
Oh, you.
The hallway leading to the principal's office at my school was renamed the Mike Pinozzo Thruway.
Come on down. Come on down. Well,
Yeah,
Mike, we missed you yesterday, and conveniently,
yeah. I
you
got
decided.
got to listen to it later because I was tied up during the afternoon. But yeah, it was good. Dave's great. Dave had a lot of
Dave's great.
interesting
Yeah.
things to say. It was a good. It was a good conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought all things considered, it went about as good and respectful, and I was trying my best, Uncle Mike. Like I was really, really trying to just, not
Bite your lip
go,
and
no, not so much bite my lip. I mean, just, try to be positive and productive as best I can while still like,
yeah.
giving thoughts on it and being true to the show and stuff. And so I know like it's been I'm sure you've gotten hit up a lot. I've been getting a lot of messages from whether it's former players or current players, and it's been a I think it's all been like positive, you know what I mean? And I've appreciated everyone who's reached out, like I said yesterday, and has helped kind of give me a better perspective on things because there's still a lot that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, all in all, I mean it's been good. But we did finally get a response from the WPBA, which is good. And so I'm excited to jump into that. But what else? What do you got for me from yesterday? Because I feel like you were
Well,
just you
listen, I liked the podcast. And I was I just thought there were a couple of points in there that that either weren't accurate or that kind of got a little off track, and it gets everybody else all lathered up, and they start to go off on these tangents in their comments on
sure.
things that weren't really maybe solid foundationally to start with. Okay, that's
Well, let's
usually
clear the
where I
air.
run the problem. So well, I mean, things like it being the same for everybody, and you know, you can't make that
Help.
comment like talking about the international players
Okay.
and anybody else that was allowed to play, things like that.
Sure.
You can't talk about it needing to be equal playing field for everybody, right? In one sentence, and in the other sentence, talk about finding young players, and she's a junior, and all this kind of stuff. It's got to be the same thing. So let me just start by saying this.
Okay.
The elite players, the elite players from the WPBA, and it's on their website. The elite players from WPBA who WPBA and the players signed agreements saying, you know, they're not allowed to play in women's open events, right? Includes all those international players. So Kelly Fisher can't come over here and play in Ultimate Pool either, and neither can whoever else is in the elite player top 10 for Pia Filler, something like that, right? So they have the same rules, and it only from my understanding is it's only events here in the U.S. So Pia can play in any women's open event she wants in Germany or Europe, and Savannah could go over there and play in any event she wants in Europe. The WPBA is a North American, they do events in North America, right? So that's kind of, just make sure we stay on that. And the other side of that is also, when you're talking about making it equal for everybody, Sophia and Savannah are WPBA elite players making money, whether it's a lot or not, different discussion, but they're in that category. So you don't treat them differently because Sophia is only 16. They are the two top women American pool players in existence, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're at that level of, they're professional pool players. It's not like we're beating on children. We're beating children down, right? So, those are just.
I would say
I just want to make sure that we're straight on that we agree with.
Well, I think that the waters do kind of get muddied depending on what lens you're looking at it, because it's like, are they kids first or are they professionals first? Like I don't know what necessarily defines a professional. As far
when
as
they sign something that says that they're a WPBA touring professional, that to me does it. And besides, Sophia's 18, so she's not a junior.
Well, sure, yeah, but back when this happened, it was she was 17. And in terms of like the equal playing field conversation, the part that I was referencing, and maybe it didn't come through with it, is that what I didn't like about it is that, and I understand they're a North American based tour, is that why then is there an issue with international players going and playing in open women's events overseas, but just having issues here in the U.S. events? That's what I don't understand.
To me makes sense because it's WPBA. WPBA doesn't operate in other countries, so
but it includes players from other. It includes players from other countries, though. We include international players in the WPBA.
They're WPBA members. They've signed contracts with WPBA touring pros. So this, like I said, Savannah can go over and play in a women's open in Europe.
But it almost feels like you're getting punished for being an American or being here in the U.S. That's what it sounds. That's what it feels like, anyway.
You're part of a U.S. players association.
That U.S. association includes international players. So like, that's where like I'm having a hard time where, and again, I'm not talking language when it comes to the contracts, just more specifics as far as like, help me understand the reasoning behind it, because listen, they're basically at a disadvantage if they were living somewhere else, or half of the top elite players are international players, but they live in the U.S. They can't play either. Margaret can't play. Christina Koch can't play. Christina Zlateva can't play. So they're not American, but they're living in the U.S. as WP. So to me, it's kind of like, okay, we're not going to try to make this too crazy big. This is where we're an American company. I think that's
American association.
Like when you're limiting someone's ability to generate an income, and you're not providing them with enough income as it is in order to sustain a living. Then I think that is part of like that. What that does make it a big deal, like that in and of itself.
It does, and we're not going to disagree on that to a point. To the point that everybody always says, unless you're giving them a monthly salary and paying for it, well, that doesn't happen in pool. So if you want an association to have some some power, some flexibility. And let's not forget the fact that this is not Matchroom, this is not Predator. This is an association that was formed and has been run for 50 years by the women players.
It feels like a 50-year-old ran.
Right. And there's, that's
what it feels
I'm
like.
not going to argue with on that part either. That's the part that they got to change. But just culturally, the idea of the association run by women's, we're going to make our own rules because we don't want anybody telling us what to do. Well, within that association, then you're going to make rules that not every player is going to agree with, but you're all have the ability to vote on them, right? So the women are in a good position because now, if this is a big enough topic, they can help force the change, right? This is their association, they're the members. So if they want to do that, they can go do that. Now we can discuss that part till the cows come home, and I'll agree with you on 90% of it. The rules are antiquated and things like that, but the fact of this Free Sophia Mast type of campaign online is
well, it doesn't just affect her. She was just the one that I had heard about, but I know it does affect other American players as well, who's just a majority of them happen to be younger, right? Because they play good. And so that's where they're getting handcuffed because they chose to sign it and because they're part of the association, get all that completely, so
that whole part of the whole fine thing, to me, that's water under the bridge. I mean, that's kind of like, okay, you signed this contract, you asked for a waiver, they said no, you said I'm going to play anyways because I've got a sponsor who's going to pay the fine.
Right.
Okay, so we're done. To me, we're done. We're certainly not going to, were there other players who have requested waivers to play in that event or other events this year? I guarantee there were. And they were told no, and they didn't play. So you can't not fine Sophia at this point. Now, I will argue that $2,000 is an exorbitant fine for anybody in the WPBA because that's like third place money, right? In just about any event. So that to me is stupid. But the rules and regulations part of it, I think we need to kind of get past because nobody really did anything that wasn't expected or that wasn't clearly labeled beforehand.
Like I said, within these conversations, I've heard of, and I've heard of instances where players' fines are not held clear across the board, and that certain players have been singled out. Certain players are being enforced differently compared to other players.
Well, you talk to players, you're always going to hear those stories. Always, always, always. And you need to know more.
Well, but I don't want to
take them for granted.
While I understand what the speed limit is, officer, it's like, and I know it's two different conversations. You know what I mean? But I just don't say that it's by the letter of the law in this instance, right? But then want to be like, well, that happens. You hear that all the time whenever that conversation gets brought up, because then I feel like if you're going to be the fucking hall monitor, be the hall monitor, and then don't give them an opportunity to go and say that they feel slighted or shorted in some kind of way. And I do feel like for whatever reason, there just seems to be as like I said, as I hear more things, that it's just I don't know. Players are not necessarily in a area where they feel like where open conversations are able to be happened, are able to be received freely and openly and without the fear of repercussions. Just having conversations, or instances in which they're sending out replies or questions or emails up through their chain of command, right? And then not getting anything back. And so again, I just like consistency is a big part of it. And that's where, like, I think there is a leg to be stand on, because you can't sit on that pedestal in one aspect, but then want to say, like, and then want to just brush it as, you know, a cultural issue in the other aspect, because that's not fair either. If you're going to do it, do it. And if you're going to be, like I said, if you're going to be that guy or that group or that board,
So
then
I
just
need more. I need more concrete examples of where the inconsistencies are.
well,
You
this
know,
is
people
where, like,
say
I wish
things
some of
like,
these players would be willing to go and speak up further when it comes to this, because it's not just where, like, I would be in a position to where reaching out and then baiting them with the question. Like, a lot of these things that have kind of that I've been talking to when it comes to certain people have all been a big group of people, all saying real similar stories. Uh, all saying real similar stories, and they're proactively, you know, coming out and having a conversation with me off the record about it, Mike. So, like, again, I just, for whatever reason, and if that's the culture in which it is there at the WPBA, then, like, there's like I said, there's other issues that need to be addressed, you know. And I think a lot of people are nervous to go and speak up, and because, like I said, they're afraid of what may happen on the back end. And this is where, like, I don't mind, you know, bringing these type of conversations up. Now, whether or not it's inconvenient to some people or annoying to some people or frustrating to some people, I'm sure some players are okay with it, and that's fine. Everyone's well within their right to be able to feel the way they feel. um, but let's let's talk about it openly. You know, let's, because there's a lot of other people who feel like it's not fair, and there's a lot of people who do feel like they're in agreement. And I hate to say and I'm gonna say this, and and I'm not trying to throw shade on any players or anything like that, but listen, these are the a lot of these girls who are in question, they are top draws, you know. And so people want to see them play pool. So
yeah,
don't
well,
think that they
that's
don't wait, well, hold on. Don't think that they want to see the WPBA. They want to see the players. So don't lose sight of that as a WPBA, you know. And so I don't know
yeah.
what the process is like, Mike, when it comes to having a vote being done, or how they go about that. I don't know what the process is like as far as the appeal that was happening or is happening or whatever. I don't know what any of that's like. Now, I've learned through you and through others that about that player association part. And I said the other day, listen, a certain amount of responsibility is put on those players. But as these conversations have kind of like come to light over the last few days, I've heard a lot of players that feel similarly, and or they've felt one way and are changing their way after the conversation gets more fluid and open, you know, which I'm optimistic about. And again, I'm not trying to shit on what the WPBA is doing or any of the board members in particular, but if you're in that position, this is part of it. It's not just, you know, it's not just taking all the positives and all the good and all the sparkles and glitters and all that shit. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to have part of it. And as people who are ahead of this association, like, I'm gonna go to them, you know. And then if they're gonna tell me it's on the players, well, then I'm gonna go talk to the players, you know. And that's what I would do. I would go talk to each and every player and say, hey, listen, how are you feeling about this? And because I'm curious about it, you know, what are your pros and cons behind it? And so I'd also like further clarity as far as what justifies a quote unquote elite player, because, like, there's nothing elite about the revenue that these girls are bringing in, you know. So
No.
and
So
again,
you know, listen. All I know is that, you know, I've been around the WPBA long enough, and it's always been, you know, and I've had battles with them, you know, way worse than with the men, because I don't agree with a lot of things they're doing. There's always been women who said, I don't like the way the board's running things. I don't like the new rules that are in place, whatever. And they fight within themselves a little bit. And what I've understood over the course of years is that an association like that that's trying to protect itself is a hard frickin' association to run, because if you've got 100 women members, 100 members, period, you know, and you're trying to vote on who's going to be your board and who's going to make up these rules and whether you're, you know, there's never going to be 100% agreement on anything ever, ever. And it's always going to be you're favoring the top players, or you're cheating the top players by trying to give stuff to the lower players who don't really play that well anyways, or you're trying to do this. You know, I've heard all those arguments over the years. It's just not an easy thing to do, but they are the members. They have the votes in this. They can make change if they want to make change. Thing is,
well,
getting them all want to make the same change is not an easy thing to do, because they all have an idea of what the hell's coming out of it. So,
buddy, let me tell you, I got 4 girls. You got, you know, you're preaching to the choir here when it comes to getting girls on the same page. Trust me, I know how challenging that could be, and that's just with, you know, young girls. I can only imagine. You know what I mean when it comes to dealing with that. Now, I would say, and again, I'm not privy to the process. I'm not privy to any of that stuff. When it comes to, if a rule is affecting a certain group of players, I would say, why don't we ask those players who are involved, because it directly affects them. So as opposed to the ones who it doesn't affect, because then it's like, well, then how can that be, you know, how can that be equal say when it doesn't affect you? So I don't, that part is
players stance on that effect changes based on at what point it starts affecting them. You know?
That's believe me, I know, because I'm hearing it. I'm fucking hearing it, Mike.
100%.
And again, and I didn't know, because I didn't listen over there was like a little bit of smoke, and then it's like and then you open up the pit, and all of a sudden it's and then you just, before you know it, the eyebrows are gone, the eyelashes are gone, and everything else, you know. And so but it's go ahead.
Can I address one thing? Okay.
Yeah.
One, we should have this conversation. I've never seen this many women chatting in one of your podcasts ever. They're passionate as hell. I like that. But this whole idea, you know, Jackie, I love Jackie, but saying, if, you know, I said salaries will never happen. I hope it does happen. I would love for the men's tour and the women's tour to be able to say, okay, the top 32, if you qualify the top 32, you each get $50,000 January 1 to help you with your costs through the year, whatever. Love to see it happen. You know, they've got a long way to go, is what I guess. And she's saying, if anyone's going to tell me what I can or can't do, they better be paying me a salary. Well, again, I got to go back to, these are rules that are made up and voted on by the women who are in this group. So they're agreeing, okay, this is the reality of our situation. This is where tournament money is at. This is where scheduling is at, all that stuff. We got decisions to make on that. Do we try to protect, and someone on the board makes an argument, we got to protect the value of the association. Therefore, we can't let, you know, if we want people to sponsor an event with $25,000 in added money, we can't have them look around and see the next week that someone with $3,000 has 10 of the top players.
Listen, that's where I want to like stop and I don't want to say end the conversation, but like go further down that road, because I keep on hearing this, right? Why would casinos? Why would a sponsor put up? Listen, I have spoken with sponsors, Mike, who are help putting on events, and I've not heard one person say that they are in favor of this rule. And when I hear the argument when it comes to the casino part of it, there's 7 events that I was able to count on the WPBA schedule for the year. I count 2 out of 7 that are at fucking casinos, right?
Yeah.
What about the other 5? What about the other 5 that are willing to? Because why isn't that aspect weighted as well? So like, I'm tired of hearing that fucking argument about the goddamn casinos, because, and while I respect anybody putting up money, listen, there's a lot of people who aren't happy with, who are also putting up a decent amount of money as well for these ladies. Right. And I think that their opinion should be taken into consideration with that, that same statement in mind, Mike.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. I'm just saying what their argument at some point with their players was. And what they're learning, I think, is that that's probably not the case. You know, that you're devaluing your association by having players play.
I feel like that might have been the case way back when, Mike, when the era was different and they were playing.
But the other side of this is, listen, I get the WPBA trying to create its own leverage to protect itself in the long run. Because, like I've always argued with the WPA, which is a completely different story, I don't want to see WPBA fold, right?
No, neither do I.
Because if there's no value to it, if all the players say you're no better than any, I'm just going to go play in whatever events I want, and you've got no, then WPBA folds, and that would be
well, okay, but
really
let me
really bad.
no. Time. Listen, I get that, but it seems to me when I go to the WPBA website, like, is that there's a lot of people within this industry that are wanting to support the ladies, and
Yeah.
I doubt, and I doubt that it's simply because of somebody with the WPBA going out there and selling them, especially with the way streaming is going these days, and people can put on events. You know, I'm not 100% sure, Mike, but I'd be willing to put in some effort to find out. You know, I would be curious how many of these 5 out of those 7 that aren't at casinos would be willing to still continue if they could get like the same amount of players. And the point that I'm trying to make with that is that it's the players who are valuable, not the brand, not the shield. You know, so like you can't lose sight of that either. You know, and so while I understand it's the players who make up the rules, then again, it just circles back to my point of, well, how can we put up for another vote? What's that process like? How can we get that ball rolling?
No, that's
who,
definitely
who,
the thing.
who
Because
needs
you talk about the
initiate
shield, it's the players and not the shield. Well, but it's the players' own shield. They created this shield. They should want to build it up. They should want to
Sure, yeah.
proudly.
No,
They
and I'm
should
just
want
saying
to
in general though,
leverage
Mike.
it. And
Yeah.
that's what they need to get back to doing. And so yeah, the stuff that they're doing now is antiquated, needs to be changed. You know, there's a lot of things that hopefully discussion like this, I mean, you know, you've certainly gotten their attention, is to get some of this, you know, to shift a little bit. Okay, so
I mean,
the
look,
main thing being telling women where they can and can't play if they're an elite player. If you looked at their website and you looked at the elite pros list, it's stunning. I mean, it really is. Have you looked at it?
I did. There was like 3 columns.
Okay.
Eventually,
So
I found it. Yeah.
it's, you know, if you were in the WPBA top 10 at the end of the year for any of the last 3 years, and if you've been in the WPA top 32 rankings as of January 1. Well, listen, we all know what the WPA rankings are. They're all over the frickin' place. I mean, there's people who just, you know, who are on there who play in, you know, a zillion tournaments in Europe or whatever, and all these, because WPA has so many just bizarre little events that it sanctions. And all of a sudden they're on this list of can't play if you're in the US. Realistically, there's probably fewer than 10 who are either American or who live in the US. Okay, so I don't think this is any sweat off of Han Yu's, you know, brow that she can't play in the Texas Open. So you have to come back. If you're that association, you have to come back and look at this realistically and say, okay, let's take a look at the names on this list. You know, who it's really affecting, and are we being fair to them? And you look at it and you see Savannah, who's, you know, certainly an elite player, and so, you know, you can see her being on some kind of list like that. But some of the other ones, you know, Kaylee McIntosh, Kennedy Mayman, you know, someone like that, you know, some of the other players, do you really want to like hold this gun to their head? It just doesn't make any sense.
No.
Right. So if you think you've got to, you know, show some kind of status that maybe you're going to limit how many events they're going to play in a year, or what size events they can play, and it's got to be X amount added or whatever, and you allow them to do it, that's fine. But you have to take a look at their rules, and then take a look at this list and say, these rules don't make any sense anymore. They don't. They're just
Sure, yeah. And I mean, listen, I would still look, while I can compromise is, I'm sure, something to where a lot of people can get on board with, at least a lot of people who I've spoken to, and they're willing to, right? And so, but like I would still have, even the more that I think about it, like I would still have a hard time just help me understand what you're trying to protect it from, because I'm this dated argument of top players playing in your events. Like I said, let's go back to the season at this year and find out how many of those people who helped put on
Yeah.
the event would realistically have an issue, because I don't think that that's necessarily a legitimate leg to stand on. What I do feel like, and again, this is just my opinion without having spoke with anyone, is that it's just it's the go-to line that's just been said to the players, and then a group has just continuously just put it back out there, put it back out there. That's the response to that, and it's just the way it's always been, you know. So,
Yeah,
but
no, that's the
like,
worst argument. Right?
like, well, I see it here. Tara Connor says that this is just scratching the surface of what's going on. I love that it's being discussed, but honestly, there's so many more issues, and that's something, Mike,
Yeah,
that like
there
I've
are.
been hearing quite a bit about. But again,
There's
I'm not like it's when it comes to bringing any stuff up, it's like you got to start somewhere. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And so,
yeah.
um,
Start with this rule that
yeah,
you have in place, and show us that you can readdress this with your players and come up with something that makes more sense. Okay,
sure, yeah, yeah,
maybe you don't want to completely open the floodgates and everybody plays wherever they want and does whatever they want and show up in conflicting dates, whatever. It doesn't make any difference. You can do whatever you want, and then nobody has any value. You know, so
well,
um,
look, let's I want to, because I had a lot of long list of shit to get to today, Uncle Mike. We're already 30 minutes in, and we ain't even gotten to the response that they sent. And so I want to just read it out. Please find a statement from the WPBA Board of Directors below. The WPBA Board of Directors is aware of the public discussion concerning the disciplinary matter involving Sophia Mass and her participation in Ultimate Pool Florida Open. Because this matter involves an individual player's disciplinary and appeal process, the board believes it's important to respect the process and avoid publicly debating matters that remain under review. However, we do want to clarify one point that has created some misunderstanding. The WPBA did not prohibit Sophia from participating in Ultimate Pool Florida Open as a whole. The decision at issue applied specifically to the Women's Open division based upon Sophia's elite pro list status and the WPBA rules applicable to players holding that status. Sophia remained eligible to participate in other permitted divisions of the event. Sophia requested a waiver to participate in the Women's Open. That request was denied, and the disciplinary and appeal process that is followed is currently being reviewed by the board. The board has received correspondence raising concerns regarding both the underlying decision and the administrative decision, and the administration of the appeal. We are reviewing the applicable policies, communications, procedural history, and information presented by the parties. The board does not believe that Sophia, the WPBA, or the sport is best served by trying this matter through social media. We are communicating directly with Sophia and her representatives and intend to complete our review through the appropriate process. Signed, WPBA Board of Directors.
I think that having the Court of Appeals out here in public discussion is gonna make the make it more than anything. But here's my biggest problem with that whole letter is that what hit me the most was the part where it said a waiver was requested and it was denied. And I wanted to say, okay, why? What did you determine was so nefarious about her playing in this event?
Well, that's just one of the questions that I have for sure.
No, to me that's a big question. It's okay when you deny it. What rationale are you using other than, well, you're ranked here and you're not supposed to play and therefore no? You know, at that point,
it's okay to play with them in. It's okay to play.
They should be thinking to themselves, wait a second, I hear what I'm saying, but does it really make sense?
It's like just, you're just spitting out everything that has just been told to you. It feels like without any like rhyme or reason to it.
Right.
That holds any weight. Look, when it comes to them not wanting to try this matter through social media, listen, my response would say this: that fine was issued a long time ago, and from my understanding, that there has been a process. Ultimate Pool Florida event was not last week, Mike. It wasn't last month, and it wasn't the month before that. So they've had some time to deal with this accordingly, right? And so I don't know what their normal process is when it comes
Yeah,
to
I don't know
dealing
what's
with stuff
time on
like
it.
that.
Usually
You know,
they give you a couple
like
of months or a month to appeal or whatever, so it can drag
something,
out
something.
without
So,
without
but it's like, I mean, come on, let's be real with it, and especially in this day and age, things are gonna get out. They should have known it was gonna get out, and it was just a matter of time. Um, and and like some of the states, listen, they're by them being able to play in men's events. Like, what are you telling these ladies? Like, you can go play pool, but you just can't go play pool and have a better shot to make any money. You know, it's like I don't understand that rhyme or reason behind it, Mike. They still would have been on a stream table, I'd imagine, because they're still a pretty big draw in the sport, not even in the women's sport. A lot of these girls in question are draws in the sport, and this is coming from someone who has put on men's events, who has put on junior events, who has put on junior women. It's like I've been able to see across as far as like what spikes the needle in terms of viewership from here in the States. And then the other part of it is like, out of all these years of doing this stuff, Mike, look at the amount of people that are so passionate about this. Like, this is where I really try to pull the positives out of, because if you got this many people feeling this way, let's turn that passion into something positive. Help turn the story around
yeah.
and make it to where we can push the sport forward and give fans and players alike something to look forward to with everything that's still coming up on the calendar throughout the remainder of the year. Now, you responded to that email, as did I. I asked a lot of questions in response. I don't know when or if or what I'll get in terms of any kind of response to there, but I'm not. If you sign something and you go against the rule and you knew that the fine was an option, then I get it. No arguments there. Now where my energy would turn towards is the rule itself. What can we do to get the rule changed? If you're going to say that we're a players association, okay, well then I would legitimately ask every single player, let's what's the vote going to look like? How can we start a vote? Let's get the ball rolling, because at least everyone that I've spoken to, whether directly involved, indirectly involved, formally involved, all feel the same way, Mike. And this is coming from people who years ago would chew my ass out as far as like ruffling feathers, you know what I mean? Who are now feeling differently than the way they did all those years back. Times are changing. So I think the WPBA needs to change along with that. And again, it's not the I go to the board or for whoever has the email, because that's the point of contact, and they chose to be that point of contact, right? But players themselves have a say, and I do think that in the coming sooner rather than later, you're going to start seeing more and more players speak up. Because what are you going to do? Fine a dozen players who are top draws and say you can't go play in that event? Or maybe they'll say, I don't want to go play in that event until it's changed.
Yeah.
Guess what? Now how much leverage do you have as a WPBA going to a sponsor, right? I'm sure I can get together, 15,000 through sponsors and put on an impromptu tournament for everyone who would decide to shift gears a little bit, you know? So just out of like a spite tournament, you know what I mean? But the thing is, like, listen, like you said, they can go and build up what they already have, and whoever, and I mean this as passionately as possible. Whoever is a roadblock between getting there, put your name on it, put your face on it. Put if you feel that way, then be proud of feeling that way, right? And whatever happens, as like whatever fanfare you get or vitriol you get or whatever, let it be whatever it'll be. But if you as players feel that way, say I want to hear about it too, because I know I've heard from a lot of players, a ton of players who are all against it. I've heard from a lot of sponsors who are against it. So what can we do to get a vote going? What can we do to start that process then is what I would say. I'll fucking chip in to help pay Sophia's fine. I don't care about the fine at this point. What can we do to stop this from happening going forward? Where's the middle ground at? And if the deal is that it's completely up to the Players Association, then maybe we don't even need to have a negotiation as far as like X amount of events a year. Maybe just let's have a vote to just to get rid of the rule in general, you know, or figure out some kind of parameters where it would satisfy maybe most, if not all, you know. But back where I came from, Mike, when I was in school, 70% we were good. Passing, get out of here, on to the next one, you know. So whatever we got to do to get a passing grade here, or at least find out if there's enough to get a passing vote, I'm willing to do. So, and again, whether that's going and reaching out to people or sending messages or emails or whatever. And again, I'm not involved in the WPBA. Maybe it's just none of my fucking business, but I'm curious to see what we can do to get that change. And it's one of those where like I will continue pushing the conversation forward until we get some kind of resolution, because this bullshit of we don't want to discuss it publicly. Listen, too bad, so sad, it happened. Let's move on. Let's deal with it now, because now you got a lot of people, a lot of fans in the pool world who are passionate about this topic, and it is hard getting a lot of people on the same page, you know.
Yeah,
so
no, it's really hard. I mean, it's some of our, you know, you can't run a business by consensus. There's got to be a leader to an extent. I mean, that's true.
That's fair.
That's fair. Then you change leadership. that's what you do. That's what because if you have 100 people in this association, and you're going to get 99 different opinions on what should be done. So,
look, according to the bylaws in the organization, the rules can be changed, but not until the next contractual year, 2027. And then they must send it to a vote, and it will require a majority player vote. As a player, I don't like the rule. It's just always been like that. So I think a lot of us have just accepted it, which is the vibe that I've gotten to. I'd be happy to see some of those rules changed. So listen, I'm okay with that. If the process is, it has to be till next year. But what I would also say is, hey, listen, all of you girls who want to go play Ultimate Pool Nationals, go send in to try to get an exemption. And if they're going to threaten you with the fine, listen, let me know. We'll try to get some money raised for you ladies so that we can pay these $2,000 ridiculous fucking fines until we get a goddamn vote in place. Because
the other thing is this isn't just about UPL too. So
no. I know, but I'm just using that.
They want to
as
play
an
in the
example
Texas
because
Open.
They
want to play in whatever.
Mike, I was there when Sophia and Savannah played in the Texas Open final. It was a great, and they were even younger than what they are now. You know, it was great seeing those kids go out there and fucking play. I mean, obviously, right? But like, you know, it's like as regional fans, Mike, there's a lot of people who can't go and travel to this state or that state or whatever. So whenever there is something worthwhile for these players to go and play in, and they're willing to do it, and fans want to go watch them, then let it happen. Let's go. You know, let them play. And like I said, if the threat is going to be there, then as the WPBA and as the board who is choosing to enforce this, right, then let's put it out there. If y'all are proud of enforcing this fine in the meantime, then put your name on it the same way, okay? Because this whole bullshit of hiding behind or passing the buck on, oh, well, I'm just the president, or I'm just this, or I'm just that. Listen, enough is enough already. Let's try to get the ladies going in a better direction than what it is now. And I'm not saying it's the only issue at hand, Mike, but it's something to where we can start somewhere with it. And evidently, there's been a lot of issues going on over there. A lot of issues going on. So, again, you're never going to make like anybody happy at the end of the day, but I would be willing to bet that we could get enough votes together to change that. So, and if not, then I'll continue trying until the next time, and then the next time after that, and then the next time after that. Anyway, you got me all fucking fired up here, Mike.
You brought it up. I thought we were going to talk about freaking Phoenix.
Look. This is how I know it was going to be a good show.
No, this is a good conversation. And really, you know, it's, again, this isn't like burn down the WPBA and start from scratch with, no, there needs to be structural changes in the WPBA. It's a worthwhile organization. It's owned and run by the women, which is the way, you know, that's why they've been around 50 years. There hasn't been a men's players association that's lasted more than 5 in the entire 45 years I've been in this thing. and women
Yeah,
have been here the entire time with the same association. So there's value there. They just need to get it squared away. They just need to get their rules brought a little more up to date. They need to know who their players are. They need to know how the landscape has changed in tournaments and visibility and in marketing and all that stuff. They do a lousy job with all of that. So
I don't even get, that's a whole other rabbit hole.
right.
In
So,
and of itself.
but it's, it can be done. And I still think it needs to be done within the framework of the WPBA. That's
sure. And I would hope that it can. And I have enough hope for humanity that there's enough sensible people to be able to do that, and that line there from Lonnie where it says, as a player, we don't like the rule. It's just always been like that. So I think a lot of us have just accepted it. That's the vibe that I've gotten from quite a few people, Mike, from quite a few people. And like I said, and this is where I say is like, just because it's the way it's been doesn't mean it's the way it has to continue to be. But these ladies are worth celebrating. They're worth watching. People are paying money at those events to go and see them compete. Their YouTube numbers, I'm hearing, are getting better and better. It seems like there's more companies on board, despite the economic challenges, that are willing to go and support the events that are going on right now for them. And so let's figure out a way to help push them further than they've ever gone before, not limit their abilities,
Right.
And like I said, if the middle ground here is putting on a WPBA patch, and then I would go talk to Ultimate Pool and say, is that going to be an issue? And I probably guess they'd say no,
Yeah.
And so, and again, it's not just Ultimate Pool versus WPBA here. Okay. But like I said, this is the example that's been brought up. And so I'm not, I can, despite their last sentence there in that communication, I can promise you that despite them not loving the social media conversation, it ain't going to stop, because I'm not going to stop talking about it until we figure out some kind of way to at least get some resolution, one way or another. One thing that I hope changes: many years ago, we had players meeting at every event. That gives everyone a chance to speak.
Remember those.
You must have that. Do you? God bless you. I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd want to be involved in that meeting, Mike. To be honest with you,
those were some color. Those could be a little colorful too, and drag on and get a little off topic, as Lori John would remember. But yeah, I mean, there just needs to be more player involvement in what's going on. The other side of it is, a lot of players. That's why they're not on the board. So they don't want to be bothered with that stuff. They don't want to be bothered with making the rules and making the decisions and all that stuff. They just want to go play. I understand that part too. So it's a weird situation.
Look, sometimes you got to be the bad guy.
Yeah,
it sucks, but sometimes you got to have tough conversations. And so, but like I said, I commend the direction that the WPBA is going to a lot of extent. I'm excited to see all the events that are on the calendar, and we'll continue to watch the events happening going forward. But please don't forget that I and most fans will want to tune in because of the ladies that are playing, not because of the WPBA logo. And they can both be on there. They can both be mutually part of the show. But as fans, we want to watch the players, period. So let's get them in the best position that we can. So, all right, Mike, we good with shoving this for now? Because
you're going to lose like 95% of your audience in the next 3 minutes when you shift to the Phoenix Open.
That's all good. Hey, listen, there's a lot of other shit to talk about. We are going to talk.
Listen, we're going to talk about some other shit. You guys just feel free to go ahead and keep this conversation in the chats going, and it'll be like watching two shows at one time.
Yeah, for sure. Like yesterday, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but I was on social media and I did see Lucas say he was pulling out of the US Open.
Yeah,
so I want to just
it's a shame
about that Mosconi Cup conversation with that. Looking at the rankings, it looks like he's officially been removed, and so he will not be part of the selection when it comes to Team USA. And I'm just curious to get your thoughts on him. LJ, we love you too, and all the ladies who have passion. I appreciate all y'all for coming on and sharing your thoughts, and especially being vocal about it. Even if I may not agree with everything, I love passionate people And so I'm happy to have all you ladies here. Anyway, Mike, thoughts on Lucas pulling out of the US Open?
Just a shame. I gotta be honest. I would have been really shocked to see him walk into that US Open. But he's on road to recovery. I mean, that's the main thing. Get him healthy, get him back to the table at his, his own pace. And then, hopefully he gets back into it next year. But yeah, so that's, I know that Johan had spoken very, enthusiastically about wanting to watch him, wanting to spend more time watching, wanting to talk with him, things like that. So, it's a shame that he won't be there, but, we wish him all the best going forward and hope to see him back at the table soon. That changes this conversation,
For sure.
a little bit. I thought you saw the graphic that came out the other day on another website. I'm trying to remember who it was, but that had all the U.S. players that qualified so far to Mosconi Cup based on playing in WNT events. And you can't miss more than 2 majors in a year to stay eligible. And they showed the European list of players, and the top 10 guys were already qualified as far as, they could be picked. The top 10 for the U.S., 2 guys were in as far as already being qualified. The rest of them have to play in at least one of the last 2 events. Some of them have to play in both of the last 2 events, which means some of these guys have to go to the Philippines after the U.S. Open.
Can you send me that that graphic just out of curiosity? I'd love to see it.
In the private chat?
In Messenger if you can, Mike, because I got my Facebook up and then I can bring it up here pretty easily. But yeah, listen, I hope Lucas does get better. I think it's probably for the best that he did miss it, although I know that all but just ends his Mosconi Cup hopes by doing so, and how tough that can be. The good thing is, listen, you're young, you got a long career ahead of you, and you're never going to have a career without your health first and foremost, and so especially given like the writing kind of seems to be on the wall. If he didn't qualify on points, he was going to be in a really difficult position to be able to come in.
Well, I think even if you don't qualify by points, you have to have played in 2 majors, and you could only have missed 2 majors. This isn't just for the points thing.
But then by default, and if you miss 2 majors, Fedor just missed the Florida and the Arizona Open.
Now he's got to play US Open and he's got to play Philippines.
So you can only miss 2, is what you're saying.
That's what I heard. So that's
Or
what I believe. That's what I believe it says. That's what I believe it says.
Graphic?
Yes, I messaged it to you.
Oh, Uncle Mike.
So it's interesting because it even says on there what how many events they have to play.
I don't think you sent it to me, homie.
Yeah, I did. Mike Ortiz, attachment, red. It says red at 12:58.
In email?
No, your message.
In text?
Yes, your text messages.
God damn it, Mike. We got to learn. We got to
Listen, I'm looking at a screen that says you read it at 12:58, bro. Did you open up your messages at 12:58?
Mike's over here sending fucking smoke signals to me still. That's how old I know you are. You still got an AOL address for your for your fucking email, Mike.
My machine still says you got mail.
Listen, I
so
think
here's I'll go through it with you.
Go ahead. I'm trying to bring it up right now.
Shane has to play in 2 of the remaining 2 majors, which means he's got to play in US Open and Philippines. Tyler will qualify after playing the US Open. Fedor needs to play in the US Open and the Philippines. Sky needs to play in the US Open and the Philippines. Justin Bergman needs to play in the US Open and the Philippines, which I found the most interesting.
By the way, this is a really odd looking graphic here.
Yeah, well, somebody AI'd it. Somebody AI'd it.
Okay, so Shane is not qualified.
Justin's not even on this because he's not ranked in the top 10.
But that's
But
that don't matter for. I
but
mean,
that don't matter. But the
yeah.
point is with Justin is that he's got to play in the US Open and the Philippines to be qualified. Now, here's a guy who hasn't gotten on a plane in like 6 years. All of a sudden, and he's already said he's going to go play in the World 10 Ball in Bali, or no, in Vietnam, right?
Well,
World 10 Ball in Vietnam or Bali.
yeah,
So either
yeah,
way,
he is.
he's
He's
going
playing
to go
Vietnam.
over there, come back, and then go to the Philippines to play in the Philippines Open. That's some
So look,
serious traveling for Justin Bergman.
So look, it kind of goes back to a real similar conversation when it comes to the ladies, okay? Because let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that Shane Van Boening and Fedor Gors do not go and play the Philippines Open, which financially is a dumb decision to go play it because it's one bullet and you're playing in the Philippines, and it doesn't make much of any sense just because from a number standpoint, right? But let's say that they don't go play. Let's say further that a Tyler doesn't go play. You mean to tell me we're going to have a team with Thorsten, Skyler, Hunter, Nathan
Skyler's
Childress?
got to play both.
Oh, well then Skyler, he's out too, because for sure he ain't playing both.
Yeah.
And BJ Ussery. Do you really is the product more valuable than the players, or are the players more valuable than the product? Because
are you saying that Matchroom would bend the rules to get the team that they want in there?
What?
Well, see, here's the difference between Matchroom and WPBA. It's their ball. They can go home anytime they want. So they can change the rules anytime they want. They don't have to ask the players. They don't have to get a vote. They don't have to do anything. So they do what they want. That said, it's just an interesting conversation to have.
Look, I don't think.
I mean, what's it going to cost Justin to go over there and play?
To the Philippines?
Yeah, $5,000, $4,000.
I was gonna say like 35, probably 35.
Okay, so he's getting a minimum. He's getting a minimum 16. He's getting a minimum $16,000 out of it just to show up, right?
Wait. For what? For
because if he shows up, he's eligible for Mosconi Cup, and we know if he goes to the Philippines, he's going to be in the Mosconi Cup. Otherwise, he wouldn't go to the Philippines. So he goes to Mosconi Cup. He's guaranteed 20 as loser, 40 as winner.
What about the 6,000 he just burned playing Florida, Arizona, Phoenix, and everywhere else right now?
Yeah, but he already made that. He already made that commitment. So he could
the hell with that money, right? So but that 14 or what that 16.
So that's what I'm saying. So now
is now down to 10.
Well, so if he didn't have to play the Philippine Open, it's still down. It's down to 13. So
this is where look. There's not all names are created equally. Okay. I hate to burst some people's bubble here. Okay. And if Shane, Fedor, Justin, Tyler, Sky didn't want to go play the Philippines Open, they don't have to go play the Philippines Open. I would imagine that a doctor's note would pop up somewhere, or some kind of excuse may come up somewhere.
Yeah. Well,
because
these were the arguments made when Filler got left off. This was the argument laid last year when Beato got threatened to be left off.
Right,
so
but
all of a sudden you're going to change it this year. It's so you end up with with a lot of people, a lot of other top players really mad at you either way. So.
Welcome to the club, boys, because there's a long list of fringe players who are just as pissed off as well, and who have just as well gotten the shit into that stick. So welcome to the club, everybody.
They're gonna
equal. It's all about equality here, Mike. Listen, I understand why they made the rule. Like I said, I don't think that the players necessarily have to go, especially a guy like Justin Bergman. Listen, they need Justin part of that circus a lot more than Justin needs to be part of that circus, because his life has been okay not being on the Mosconi Cup, right? And so Emily,
the reality if Justin was not on if Justin was the one guy who wasn't on the team this year, it's not going to affect Mosconi Cup a lot.
No, yeah.
So, but I just
thought
it's very funny.
It's already been in dire situation,
Well, it's what they're saying to a certain extent is that, and what the U.S. players are showing is that they don't really support the WNT. So,
I don't know if it's necessarily supporting the WNT as opposed to, hey, that's not a smart financial decision for me to go and spend my money like that. It does not make financial sense for me to go and spend $3,500 to go to the Philippines to play in a single elimination tournament. So,
you
like,
wouldn't have had to if you played the European Open or the UK Open or any of those.
Why are you bringing up old
So,
shit, Mike? Why are you bringing up stuff
because
from the
I'm
past?
saying if you look at the European players, everyone in the top 10 doesn't have to worry about skipping any of the last two events. Okay, whereas,
but they listen. I hate to tell you,
two people
outside of
in the U.S., one of them being Torsten, right, and the other being Nathan Childress, are the only ones who've gone and supported the WNT events to this point to where they would be eligible. So to me, that's a statement by the U.S. players saying, nah, don't feel like going to Europe. Don't feel like going to UK Open. Really don't want to go to the Philippines. But, well, at some point, you got to say, okay, maybe we are done with the Mosconi Cup because the Americans don't really give a shit about playing in any of our events.
Or we can just make up another rule that just pops up conveniently and say,
unless you had a note from your doctor, by the way, send your request to Dr. Emily. And,
and address to the Fraser Federation. Listen, the weight of the event is in a really dangerous spot, I feel like. And so they need all the reinforcements that they can get in terms of top American players. There's already a limited amount as there is. And so, we got to have our big guns. We got to have Shane. We got to have Fedor. We got to have Bergman. And listen, we still need them, even if they don't go burn 3,500 to play in the Philippines Open, right? We still need them. And more importantly, Matchroom needs them. So Shane's done this shit 19,
I'm kind of hoping a couple of them don't go to the Philippines. I just want to see what happens.
Oh, from the page standpoint, of course I don't want them. Just see what happens. Let's play chicken. Let's find out.
Yeah, let's play chicken.
Call their bluff. Because I'm calling bullshit is what I'm calling. And
well, see, again, I thought that last year with Carlo Beato. I'm like, listen, Carlo, you're the freaking world champion. Call bullshit and see what happens.
Listen, I think that Emily hasn't been afraid to make a call when it comes to one player, i.e., like a filler, or that one year when Shane wasn't put on World Cup of Pool. It's a whole different argument when 60% of the team that's already been busted up for the last 10 years isn't eligible. Okay, because it was already slim pickings as it was going into it. So like I said, for the sake of enjoying good conversations, I hope they don't go. Personally, and I don't think they need to go.
So if Matchroom tells them that they're not on the team, then ticket sales would definitely go down. But no,
listen, let me tell you,
the result can't get any worse.
You remember when I said about being able to get like 15 grand together for a plan B situation for the girls? I'd imagine that we can figure out some kind of exhibition to fire a decent bullet at getting some players to go and play, because the guys seem to be wanting to watch great pool. And like I said, we want to watch great players. I don't want to watch the fucking selfie stick. I just don't, so let's just keep that in mind, that we want to watch the players when it comes to these conversations. Now, Mike, in the note of potential Mosconi Cup teams, as I was on social media the other day, I noticed that there's a DUYA event coming on, and with the DUYA event, I saw Fedor's name listed on there, and we've already seen. First of all, Chu is playing, the Cole brothers are playing, and on top of that, we ain't seen them in very many matchroom events after deciding to go play that route. And so the rabbit hole that I go down when I see that is, one, I'm happy for Fedor, because I would love to see how that translates, considering how he's an elite player, into playing on those tough conditions with a great field, because even though it's like 16 players, they're fucking monsters, right? But the conversation for me would lead to, well, then what's that commitment level going to be like for next year for the matchroom points? And then by default, then what's that going to put as eligibility when it comes to the Mosconi Cup for next year as well? So
when is this?
I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. I tried to look on the flyer and to see if they had some dates on there. I want to say that I might have seen somewhere that it was like September, but I'm not 100%. And again, I don't know if that commit of this year. I don't know if that commit.
Where's it at?
Yeah. Like, I don't know, somewhere over there, somewhere in China.
Somewhere over
and it's
there.
Like, and it's
be a little more specific.
It's listen, I know it's like
China,
$250,000 for the winner.
China, mainland
Yeah,
China.
16
players.
Are you a fucking geographer all of a sudden? Yes.
Yeah, you're the one who brought it up.
In that general region.
I thought you knew something about the event other than DUYA and
only
Fedor.
Picked and choose the names, the important parts. I didn't know we were going to have to fucking point it out on the map where exactly the location is. That I didn't know. I wasn't prepared for it. You know, Jenny Ann's in there. 300,000. Winner gets 300 grand. Prize fund of 1.5 million. And listen, they're going to cover their expenses too, because that's part of the beauty of playing those events.
That's the way they roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 22 participants. That's really weird.
Maybe some get a bye. I don't know. But either way,
maybe it's 22 of these guys, and then they drop in 22 Chinese nationals like Shaxing Wu at the end.
Hey, no, Wu's in there. Wu's part of the
he was on the poster.
Deal. Yeah,
well, I mean, but they usually split it up, international and China, don't they?
I think that's more for like Hayball World Championship. Yeah, big.
Well, no, they did that for the DUYA. They did that for the DUYA one that Shaxing Wu won.
Let me see if I can bring it up here.
They had the internationals in one field. They had the Chinese in another, and then they all blended together into single elimination at the end.
So it's kind of like a what's that new bracket format they're doing these days, where it's just like it's the top and bottom or whatever it is. Here we go. Let me see if I can bring this up here. Let me see. Here is the bracket, or at least some of the players that you can kind of see on here. God damn it. Hold on. Wu's in there. Zhao Ruling's in there. Yang Fan, who's another. God damn it. Why does it keep on doing this? Who's another monster.
Yang Fan, he was A-ball.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Koping Yi, Koping Chung, amongst others.
Koping Han? No.
He ain't. Come on, Mike. You know he ain't gonna be on.
I was just curious because he was actually pretty high up there in the DUYA. You got
Chua, Wang Can, and Fedor Gorst. It's 21 Asian dudes and one Russian walk into a bar, and this is where we're at. You know, so
Russian with an American green card, buddy. If he wins it, we're flying the flag, bro.
Oh, we got another world championship split bracket. That's what I was thinking about. But all monster players, and so pretty decent prize fund up for grabs. But like I said, I'm
$300K for first. That's pretty decent. I'll take that.
You think so? Yeah. And that's just on a fucking Wednesday or something for these dudes. Like they just burn money putting on these events, which is great for the players, you know, and it's no wonder why a lot of these top players are going and playing in these events. But do you think that this will lead to a point where, like, a lot of these guys who I mentioned here, Mike, they don't really play a whole lot of WNT events anymore? Co-Brothers, Chua, we don't really see them play any more WNT events. So do you think that's the road that it'll eventually go down with when it comes to Fedor?
With Fedor? I don't. I'd be surprised. You know, listen, Co-Brothers, they're there. Chua, he's there. Fedor all of a sudden to move to China.
Fedor
he's not going to make money playing DUYA part time.
Listen, if they're paying for travel and expense and he gets a free roll, Fedor can be there. He may not be there, but he can be there. Okay, big difference. You know, if you're paying for the nut, like
if someone's paying a nut and you're out in the second round every time, how often are you going to do that?
Well, he's still going to be making money. And I'm sure he can go and just grow his brand more globally, which is that kid's very smart when it comes to attending certain parts of the world and those events they got going on, you know? Yeah. So I'm just curious to see where it goes. So something to kind of keep in mind. I don't know when it starts. I follow that DUYA page, but we shall see. Mike, yesterday at the Phoenix Open, I wake up this morning and I get a text from Uncle Mike, and I'm gonna bring up the bracket. But the first match I just want to bring up here is from the other day. Actually, I'll turn this off while we discuss it. But it was the not Fedor. It was the Bergman versus Carlo Beato matchup.
Yeah.
You think that was enough to seal the deal for you? Mosconi Cup, here we come.
What did I add to my note to you? A picture of a jersey.
A picture of a jersey.
Picture of a jersey. Just get his shirt size right now. But like I said, that's what makes it really interesting about, okay, but to qualify, you got to go to the Philippines for a single bullet. Justin Bergman, that's like, so if he goes over there, he doesn't have to hit a ball. He's not going over unless he was promised a spot. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, 100%. So just going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, good man. I mean, he was up 7-3, almost got away from him. And Carlo actually...
I fell asleep by the time that match came on.
Carlo missed a couple of opportunities. Carlo was running out and had a ball skid like 9 inches on him on the 8. Oof. And then when it was, I think, 8-7 or 9-7, or what are the races to? 9 or
9? Yeah, 9. I want to say.
So it was 8-7, I think. Beato had ball in hand and missed.
CPM says Beato played pretty well too. Some insane kicks. Look, I didn't put as much weight.
Ball in hand. You missed with ball in hand when it was 8-7.
He's a bum. He's just a bum at this point.
Yeah, he's over the hill now.
Look,
in the Hall of Fame, he's over 40.
I told you I wasn't gonna put a lot of weight into Yuma. I wasn't gonna put a lot of weight into Phoenix. Like I can't take any negatives out of those events, but positives, believe me, Matchroom will milk that cow till it's dry. So that is a good win for Justin. That'll be a confidence booster. But I don't think his game is where it necessarily needs to be at, to where playing in WNT is gonna make full sense. I think given that, like, kind of you go play, you're in kind of vibe that we've been getting all year. Finish out the rest of this American stretch and it's a wrap. You're gonna be on the team. And I don't see any way they go and keep him off. I still feel that way. I think everything positive that you go and get from his tournament for this event and for the US Open for that matter is just gonna be jelly on top, because it's a done deal. And if he plays Philippines Open, you can guarantee, like you said, that it's a done deal. There was some kind of commitment there made where they said, if you go play this event, then you're in. So I'm going to bring up the bracket here.
I should be fined $5,000 for Montana sweatshirt, Montana State sweatshirt. Sounds like someone must be from University of Montana.
Shit.
Montana University.
Look, Yap is through. He's playing Big Al coming up, Mike. Yeah, Al hasn't really faced anybody. Yap hasn't really faced. He had Dean Shields and Omar Al Shaheen. What do you think on Big Al and Big Al? Not on Aloysius and Big Al.
What difference does it make? I'm going to be wrong.
That's what I want to know. I'm trying to figure out which direction I'm going to go. Plus, I need to get back to dinner.
Well, Big Al, I don't know if there's any kind of hero worship going on there. I'm waiting for Yap to be Yap again.
Yap ain't look like Yap.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to be Yap again. And, maybe this is his time, because there's a little warm up to the US Open. I mean, I know he wants to get in gear for the US Open. I know he's going to take the match really seriously. So we'll see.
Frank the Tank Candela and Huang are also through. Huang faced the Filipino, faced Ralph Suquet. Frank has beaten some good names. 9-8 against Mickey, 9-8 against Lin Ta Li. There you go, Frank. Get you some.
Yeah.
Labutis and our guy Alexa. Mike, I gotta be honest with you. That Alexa interview was one of my favorite interviews that we've done. And
he's a good dude, man.
He was a joy to talk to, man.
Yeah.
Like his outlook, his perspective on things. Like I didn't realize he had that much personality and was that quick on his toes with responses and just authenticity. Like it was a really good conversation. I'll be continuing to root for that kid. Round 2 with Cledio and Kachi. Mike, you want to fire a little dinner bet on this one again?
Tyler and I'll take Kachi. Don't load up. You want to fire dinner at it, and when
I've been picking Claudio for 3 years now, and now all of a sudden you want to pick him.
Yeah,
Tyler's on a heater, man. You should want to pick him.
Then take him.
You're just a sucker here, Mike. Okay, look, George Antonakis beats Moritz Hill. Mitch Ellerman. Look, Mitch is sneaky good. He just beat Georgie 9-8, and he was up. I watched the end of that match. Mitch was playing good, Mike. I would love to see Mitch go real deep, which he's capable of doing. And I don't know if he's playing the US Open, but I tell you what, the little bit of time that I get to see Mitch play, I just further get impressed with that dude. You know, like he's just he's fun to watch too. Jesus and Victor.
Hold on. I got a challenge from Frank.
What do we got?
Frank wants a steak dinner in Orlando during Mosconi Cup. He's taking Tyler. I'm biting on this one. Frank,
listen,
we're on,
Frank,
buddy.
You're taking. So you're picking up the bet.
No, I'm taking Claudio. He's taking Tyler.
Ah, okay. Well, then there you go. I'll stay out of it. I ain't trying to knock anybody's action here.
I figured you wanted to back off that one.
No, because I'm trying to go after you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mind busting Frankie over there, but I'm trying to
Frank said it, and I went to a couple nice steak places in Orlando last year. So yeah, I'm in.
Snap call. All right, look, Jesus beats Mark Biesterbosch 9-3. Jesus also defeats Jeff DeLuna. Damn, that's a shame. Jeff lost. Fuck.
Was that Hill?
Yeah, it was Hill. I didn't even see it.
That had to be tasty.
Yeah. Victor defeats Albin. Albin was on stone tilt that match, and then Victor defeats Petria. You got Victor and Jesus coming up.
Did you watch that? Was Albin on tilt?
There was I saw a safety rack being played between those two, and then he did get the first look. He bombed the ball. I couldn't believe how bad he hit the ball. I don't know if it was a condition. I don't know what happened, but it was very un-Albin like. And then it was like it was a wrap. Like you just knew
it was a wrap.
You just knew. Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, he's done. Anyway, Jeffrey Rhoda again, Mike. This is actually a really good matchup here against Robbie Capito. Robbie has just coming off a win over Gersten. I don't really know how to game plan this or call this one, but I tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if either one, if not both these guys, are in the final 8 of the US Open. I think their ceiling for both of them is well within that range, and it would be a bet that I would certainly be willing to take, Mike, on either one of them. Robbie's playing really good right now, despite the soft break heard around the world, and
I think it's giving him a little chip on his shoulder. He posted a rack from the Phoenix Open yesterday, showing him.
Did he?
I ran out after the soft break, so I think he's got a little chip going.
Good,
He
Listen,
had a little bit of,
fucking needle him.
He had a little swag and a little edge to him in Orlando. So yeah, this is good. This is good.
You gotta talk a little shit sometimes. Your boy Joshy and Max Lechner on deck for that round as well, Mike. That should be a real good
one.
I'll
take Josh.
I'm sure surprisingly we'll take Josh. Fedor defeats Tevez. Fedor also
Max lost to Johnny Archer. I think I'm done taking Max.
I am retired from taking Max for a little bit of time. we need to take a step back here after what I just saw. Although Johnny did play Shane last night, which was an entertaining match, if nothing else. Grabo and Naoki Oi, Mike Oi needs to hit that emergency button. Like it is time for Oi to get back some more money. If not, he's got no chance of making.
Who does he pull? Who does he pull?
Dennis. Facing our boy Dennis.
Good luck with that. Good luck. Who does Fedor have? He spun past Fedor. Who does Fedor have?
Cheng Yulong. Is who he has. Cheng Yulong. Oliver and David Alcade. Mike David's just warming up. Look at this. 9-5 over Roland, 9-4 over AJ Manis, right? And then now he's facing Oliver. I like David in that matchup. David is another one where it's just like, here we go again. You know, and when you start off a tournament like this with these kind of wins for a guy like David and the way that he was coming off of over there at Yuma, that's something where David could catch a really scary gear and nobody got to like it. You know, so that's going to be
nobody gotta like it, man.
Nobody gotta like it.
Nobody gotta like it. You sound like a 1970s pool player, man.
Hey, John Mora and FSR. Who do you got?
Talking to Billy and Cardona too much.
I love
John
me some
Mora
Dalian Cardone.
and FSR. Good match.
Yeah.
Really
Who do
good.
you got? Who do you got?
Are you firing? You give me the choice and you're
I'm
firing?
Can I pick?
No, you said who do you got?
Fuck.
Are you firing or not?
I'm just feeling it out. Can I just not feel? I'm just feeling it out right now. Who do you like?
I like FSR.
I don't even know why I even ask you anymore. Okay. Okay. How about this one? Kazakis and Shane.
Ooh, very good.
Yeah,
You know where
that's
I'm going with this
good
one.
I already know. I'm gonna keep on cruising because I already know where your ass is going with it. Mario He and Sullivan Clark. I think it's a lot closer than what we give it credit for.
One's it depends on how high the heart rate gets in that one.
Yeah, it depends on how close the scoreline is.
If the heart rate gets high late, I think Sullivan Clark.
Look, we'll come back to Shane and Alex here in a minute. Bernie and Marvin Assis, Pinozo.
Wow, good one. That's a really good one.
And then Justin Bergman and Clemens Ebert. Clemens beat Arsini and Mike and Kevin Brock. And then Justin, of course, just coming off of that win over Carlo Beato. That should be a really good matchup. And then on some loser side matches, Dean Shields and Carlo Beato. Mickey's about to go out. Look at that. That ain't a good time to go out, buddy. Nick De Leon is on his way. Johnny Archer and Eric Roberts. Who do you like there, Mike? You got to go with
that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, you got to go with the old guy, right? I mean, you got to go with the old guy.
Why?
Because that's like your guy. Your generation. You know?
My era.
Yeah, your era. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going for. Okay, look, what? Fuck. I'm trying to see if there's any other. There's a lot of good matchups. There's a lot of killers. Kachi's on the one loss side. Marco, Frazier, Patrick, Jonas. Frazier and Jonas is a sneaky good one too. Loho Sum and Salvador Garcia.
Yeah, what's happened to Jonas? He kind of been doing some disappearing acts lately, hasn't he?
I ain't really.
That's the clue right there.
What?
We haven't
talked
about him in a while, have we?
And then he just disappears.
It's because he hasn't been around long enough to talk about.
It hasn't been the trip US Open for. Look, I'm coming back to this one here, Mike. Obviously, I know you like Shane, right?
Yeah.
What can I get taking Alex? Let's start the negotiations here.
What can you get taking Alex? Alex just
Come on. I need something, Mike.
Well, but it's got to be like food. It's not like, what am I going to throw in an extra dessert?
No. I need like games on the wire. I'm not talking about the meal. I need a game spot.
Well,
yeah.
What are they racing to?
To 9
still?
Yeah, to 9.
They're going to 9? You can't get more than a game and a half.
Game and a half? A game and a half against Shane Van Boening? The Hall of Famer?
You want to win at 9-7? Is that what you're telling me? You want to win at 9-7?
I mean, if you give me a win at 9-7,
yeah, well, that's why I said a game and a half. I'll give you a game and a half.
I might have to take. How about just give 9-6?
He's a good chance to win the damn event. All you got to do is get to 8. You don't even have to win.
Shane is look at Shane's score lines: 9-4, 9-1. What are we talking about here? Johnny's a monster. Johnny just got done beating Max. That guy. He's back. He's back.
Yeah,
baby.
Yeah, he's back. He's back.
Look, let me see if I can find any. We got to get something, Mike. We got to get something on the. Okay, how about this? Oy and Grape.
Oy and Grape. I'm taking Dennis Grape all day. Are you freaking kidding me?
All day. I don't like how you fucking just snap call. Okay, you know what? I tell you what I will do. I'll let you pick here, right here. That's the one.
Who's that? Jeffrey and Robbie.
Jeffrey and Robbie.
Wow. Okay, that's a good one.
That's a flip. That's is a real flip.
That's a stone flip right there.
Mm-hmm. What do you got? What time do they play at? 6?
You know what? I owe Robbie one, so I'm taking Robbie.
Okay, I'll take Robbie.
You can't bail out. You already said.
No, I know. I'm taking.
Okay,
listen,
so
I'm going to take.
Robbie.
I'll take Roto.
I love knowing
dinner.
that I took the guy that you wanted.
This is the thing. You move so good. It's unbelievable. Like, even when I think I got you in a trap, you just fucking, matrix on out of there. Hey, look, it's been a fun show. I don't know what your plans are the rest of the weekend. I'm around tomorrow. Will not be around Saturday. I will be around Sunday though, because Saturday I'm traveling to DFW already. So if you're free tomorrow, I'd love to have you back on, Uncle Mike.
Yeah, sure.
Did we touch base on everything? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because you've been around this shit for a long time, and I'll end the show here. What do you really think that rule gets changed?
Yes, I do. I do think that it gets changed. I think that the cage has been rattled enough. There's been enough consensus among everyone. There are very few people in the world right now who aren't on the WPBA board who are defending the current policy. Okay, if it was 60-40 in favor against the policy, I'd say maybe not. But it's like 97-3 that this is just a bad policy that needs to be changed. It needs to be updated. They need to think about the women a little bit deeper. They need to look at this list that they've come up with and saying, this is a stupid, long, big list of people that we're limiting their play. Okay, so we got to come up with some alternative. I don't think the alternative is going to be just open the floodgates and play wherever the hell you want. I think there'll still be some kind of restrictions on top players, and we'll see what they are. But if everybody can live with them going forward, then I think it's win-win. So I do think it'll be changed. How quickly, I don't know, but I would hope by the end of the year so that they can start January next year with new rules in place. That's what I would hope for.
Nope. I got a lot more faith now after hearing that from you, buddy. So anyway, listen, go enjoy the rest of y'all's day. I got to run, and it's been fun, everyone. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us, and make sure and get signed up for that Cuetec giveaway. We're doing it. I'm doing it at the US Open, so make sure and get signed up. We'll see you guys
later. Did you download the WNT TV app?
For what? I pull up the browser. What do I need the app for?
Browser? What are you, like 50 years old? Pull up
works.
The browser and type into URL. Just get the.
It works.
You hit the button like it's any other app on your phone. You could URL. You could use. You could use a browser for anything on your phone.
Did we need? I don't even want to know what that cost to put together. Do we need an app? It was working fine. My WNT TV was working just fine.
It's an app. Now you just touch the app and you're in. You're watching. You're not typing in URLs and putting in your password or facial recognition. Come on,
you're just
with
in.
The time, man. It's 2026.
Okay, yes, we finally got it. We finally got an app. Yay! I'm fucking real excited.
Now the next step is to get them to be able to go stream directly to your TV.
Get a fucking radar gun. If you're gonna get an app, get a radar gun.